what we're going to make our flowers out of is that icing that you guys at home call like the roll-out fondant, and we buy it the same way you do, except our containers are bigger, that's all. It's the same stuff, same brand. So you get that at Spotlight. It's called Pecking Ice plastic icing or ready-to-roll icing. I get it in 7 kilos, but it's the same thing. You can use it just as it is, or you can add a little bit of a powder to it that makes it a little bit firmer. And if you go to your Cake Decorating Solutions supply shop, they'll call that CMC powder or Celogen, and that's made out of cellulose. You don't need to know that though. Or they'll call it Tylose or Gum Trag, which is short for gum tragacanth, which is actually something that we use for embalming bodies, but probably more information than you needed. Or you could use Tylose, which is a pre-gelatinized starch. I have way too much information inside my head. But basically you're going to ask for some of that powder that's going to make my icing a bit firmer, and they'll know what you're talking about. You need a plastic bag or some cling wrap, because when you're not using your icing, it's going to dry out very quickly. You need to plasticize it, and by that I mean the little sugar crystals inside all line up and it doesn't want to be rolled out. So when you first get it, it's like that, so you just mold it a little bit. So now I'm going to take off about a golf ball size piece. And I'm going to put the rest away in my plastic bag. I'm going to roll that golf ball size piece into a golf ball. I need a piece of plastic. I'm going to use an A4 sheet protector. You could use, I'll get a new one. You could use, if you wanted to, a piece of cling wrap. What works good is a piece of baking paper folded in half. I like this because on my black background here, I can show you what I'm doing and it will make sense to you because you'll be able to see it. I'm just going to cut that open. So bear with me that I'm going slowly. I don't want to miss any points that you might be interested in. Okay. Alright, so at this stage I've got my golf ball. I've got my other icing here. I'm going to roll a sausage. So we need a golf ball and a sausage. That should be easy to remember. I'm going to roll the sausage out about as thick as my thumb. The only tools I'm going to need, that's going to come crashing off this, it's going to be very funny if it does, is I need a sharp knife and a little paring knife like this. Okay, nice and clean edge on it. Cool. My golf ball, I'm going to roll it into a drop, like a teardrop, a water droplet, like that. And I want to put the top of it really pointy. Now most of this won't end up in my flower. This is the building block. And I was taught this method by a colleague who just saved me so much time. Went from spending 5 minutes to make one of those to 45 seconds when I go fast at it. Won't do that for 45 today. Squeeze that like that onto the bench, and what you form there is you form the inside of the bud of the rose. Does that make sense? So instead of making petal after petal after petal, now it looks like when I add one petal to that, there's actually like 50 in there, but saved me all that time. Alright, from my sausage I'm going to cut 3 discs about 3 mil thick and put my icing back under plastic like I said. Those 3 discs I'm going to lay on top of my sheet of plastic like so. They look like a letter D. They're flattened on the bottom and they've got a curved side. And I'll be able to hold this up and you'll be able to see them when I've done it. I'm going to press out the curved part of the letter D all the way from the top to the bottom with the flat of my thumb. So hard that it's going to like hurt my thumb. Well, it hurts when you've done 200 of them in a row. And the idea, there's 2 important points. That you press them out super micro thin on the edge, like see-through thin, but that you only push them out thin on the edge. The rest of it is it's a myth, it's an illusion. So the customer will see that beautiful flower, and you and I will see that mess on the back. Doesn't matter, you're never going to see that. When they're all put together, they look really beautiful. So press that out. Sorry for going so slow, but I don't want to miss anything. And this is what we refer to as a skill set and a knowledge thing. It's a bit of a crossover. But now they look like this. They're so thin on the edge that you can see through them, but they're fat on the bottom. If I take one out, they're fat on the bottom where I didn't squish them out. So I'm going to wrap one around my center here. And if you don't go slow and talk like I'm doing, this will still be sticky and this will stick on. Mine's going to be a bit difficult because I've been jabbering away. I need to hide the center of that completely by wrapping it in there. And that's the illusion of the center of the bud of my flower. Okay? The illusion of the bud in the center. So far it's like, yeah, whatever. But hang in there. Trust me. It gets worse before it gets better. Take another one, stick it over that join, and leave one side of it sticking out in space. Because it's going to wrap around the next petal. Make sense? Every flower goes petal, petal, petal. Take another one, slide it underneath that one, and then wrap it around, and it'll stick just from the stickiness. And so far you're going, oh, I suppose, but watch this. I just fold that back, give it a little bit of personal love and affection, and it's starting to look like a flower now. Really, I haven't really done much yet, and already you could cut that off and that could be a flower. But now we're going to add 3 more, and that's going to bring it from that to that. And if you want to, keep going and going and going until you've got a full-blown, crazy-looking rose. So the teacher that taught me how to do this, it wasn't a student. I usually learn most of the stuff off the students, and that's how it should be. We all learn off each other. But one of my colleagues taught me this method of making flowers, and it saved me a real lot of time. And these are handy because putting flowers on a cake is obviously a normal thing to do. They also hide all the cracks and divots on the cake, hide your mistakes. Are you good so far with this process? Yep. So you need to go home and practice this, okay? I'm going to do 3 more of those letter Ds pressed out. Then I'll show you how you get rid of that bulby thing on the bottom. Press out really, really thin. Now you can imagine if I had my colleague here smashing these out and I'm just building, I'm going 1 in 20 seconds, one, and then just building up, building up. They can be dried out, they can be airbrushed, they can be dusted with petal dust. I've got some yellow ones over there, and I'll show you how to do the leaves if you hang around. If you don't, that's okay. Same thing again. Find a join, put a petal over it. Put another one underneath that. Put another one underneath that. Squeeze them on at the base. It looks really shonky now, but when I come over and show you, it's going to look okay. We're going to fold that back. And just fold back. Actually, Cassandra showed me how to do these better. You fold yours back a lot less. Just the edges. Just the edges like that. There's no right and wrong. They're a real thing. It's a flower. Like, they're all different. Okay? Fold back. Like so, and I like to pinch like that. Yep, pinch. Cassandra's done our diploma course, and she's become part of the Tate family, and she's like, so annoying, I tell you. I've got no idea. Are you right? You good? And then, so then you've got a flower sitting on this like bulbous bit of stuff. We want to get it to this stage here so that when it sits on the cake, it faces the customer. Okay? So when she's finished being control freak, thank you, madam. So that looks a little bit like a rose? Yeah, and you could do that from what I just showed you?
Yep.
Okay, and if you can't, you can just send me an email and I'll send you some pictures. Or ring me up or something. So if you just Google my work and ask for me, you'll get me. Now I've got to put this on the cake. So first thing I'm going to do is get rid of that bottom bit. So just going to roll that like that until it falls away, because we don't need that. That's going to be part of our next flower, and I kind of think it's sexy because every flower has a little bit of the last flower in the next flower and that. Now we want that to sit on the cake, but we can't because it's all dodgy as. So for the time being, we're just going to cut it off like that, and it sits like that. Now you can take the time just to tidy it up a bit. Later on, when you want to put it on display on the cake, I'll give you an example. These here have been drying for hours and hours and hours. Rock hard. You can hear that? But I can still change that. If I want to place that on an angle like that, I need to cut off some of that bottom. So even though it's been drying, I can still get in there with my knife and cut that angle off it. And then I can put some icing on my cake and I can glue that on.
Not that I'm showing off, Matt.
Yeah, so then you can arrange your spray. When you arrange your sprays on your cake, don't make it symmetrical. That doesn't happen in nature, it'll look weird. So you have like, maybe you'll have a large one, maybe a couple of small ones. Maybe they should taper off as you go down. And here's one where I started making the flower, changed my mind. I thought, no, let's just stop there. That's like it's fallen off. Maybe aphid's got it or something, you know? Or the old lady sprayed it next door or whatever. Just pinch that off. And that can go like so. And then so you get that, you can get the gist of it. And I'll show you briefly, if you're patient enough, one of the ways that I like to make these leaves. So when I do the leaves, I don't use leaf cutters. I think leaf cutters leave me cold. Anyone can go to the shop and buy a cutter, roll out some icing, and get a leaf out of it. What I prefer to do is to take a small piece of the same icing, about the size of a pea, roll it into a ball. I'm going to roll a teardrop with that one again, but really long and pointy. And I made this up myself about 2 weeks ago. And now it's the only way I make leaves. So it's a long point like that now. I'm going to pinch the end of it so it's pointy on each end. Oops. A short point on one end and a long point on the other. So when I place that in and it's magical to see up here, but you can't see from there, you need a mirror. I'm going to run my thumb over that and it's going to suddenly form a leaf shape, alright? Just by running my thumb over it, alright? So that's pretty cool. Now, if I get my fingers and I run around it and pinch it, it makes a rib down the center and smooth on the sides. Okay? Now I'm going to take the back of my knife, and you can't see it from where I walk around with it. I'm going to draw a vein down the middle of it on a curve, because a leaf is asymmetrical. Then I'm going to make some little veins going down, and you can change the style of your leaf by just using your skills. Get yourself one of those little tiny knives. You can make grape leaves, you can make autumn leaves that are jagged on the edges. But these are quite simple. Are they state of the art? No. Will they do? Yeah, absolutely. So that's what I've got there, and that's quite simple. If you curve that first piece of icing that you put on your plastic, you'll get a curved leaf. So you can make willow leaves which are offset one way or the other. Yeah, is that
Yep.
easy to follow?
Yeah, great.
Yeah, I don't know that there's much of that system on the internet that simple where I cut the discs off. So what that's saving us is saving us having a little bottle of water here with some boiled sugar in it, and we've got to muck around. So do you deal with this stuff at home?
Yep.
So would you use glue by getting that in some water and boil it in the microwave for a bit? That's how I make glue. So that's a good trick if you didn't know it. Are you making flowers at all?
No, I haven't made any flowers yet.
Sweet, that's your homework. Make some of them like that. You want to take
So
some
how
with
do you
you?
how do you make them the chocolate coloured?
Oh, I bought chocolate ready to roll icing,
Oh,
and I
okay.
gave it away.
Yep.
If I
No,
give you
that's
some
fine.
of these to take, then you can see if you can make them the same.
Sure.
Alright, I'll give you some, sorry. So I'm going to put them in. So, some leaves as well.
Yep.